A man who's polite and gallant is a hard man for any woman to resist. Right, your bubble tea, Jessica said, snapping me out of my thoughts as she held out the 2 cups. Thanks. I took them without ceremony and passed one to Daisy. Here you go, kiddo. Drink this for now. We'll get you some real food in a minute. Okay, Cole, Daisy chirped, nodding obediently as she took the cup and began sipping through the straw. Good girl. Seeing how well behaved she was, I instinctively ruffled her hair. Well, Mr. Preston, I should get going, Jessica said with a final, bright smile. Work tomorrow. It was already past 10. By the time she got home, showered, and settled in, it would be after 11. Too late of a night would make for a rough morning, and being late to the office was not her style. All right. Get home safe, Jessica, I said with a nod. I will. She gave a little wave and turned to leave. I couldn't help but notice the thoughtful look on her face as she walked away. She probably felt I was more approachable than before. The old Cole, while always polite, kept a professional distance. Tonight, I had been different, more relaxed, more casual. Like a normal friend. Strange, she was likely thinking. But nice. The precinct was buzzing. Sirens had sliced through the south side streets an hour earlier as a dozen squad cars swarmed the old tenement building. Ambulances had followed, their flashing lights painting the dilapidated walls in strokes of red and blue. Now, inside the south side precinct, Captain Shaw stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his eyes narrowed as he addressed his officers. All right, someone give me the situation report on the south side tenement bust. A young, sharp-faced officer with her hair pulled back in a tight ponytail stood up. Sir. Shaw nodded at her. Go ahead, Holt. Yes, sir. Officer Holt squared her shoulders and began her report, her voice crisp and clear. This operation constitutes the largest organized crime takedown in the history of the South Side Precinct. Our initial investigation indicates the organization consists of 52 members, all non-locals. They were engaged in human trafficking, forcing at least 17 female victims, aged 16 to 28, into prostitution. Furthermore, they were involved in the abduction of children for the purpose of organ harvesting. Children deemed unsuitable for harvesting were physically mutilated and forced onto the streets as beggars to exploit public sympathy. We have identified 24 child victims, primarily between the ages of 6 and 10. A heavy silence fell over the room. The organization also ran an illegal gambling den in the South Side market, with significant cash flow, and was responsible for a string of petty thefts. She continued, the ringleaders have been identified as Cyrus Hale, male, 46. He appears to be the primary operator, directing the prostitution, gambling, organ trafficking, and theft operations. Ruby Kane, female, 39, served as the madam. She has a prior record for solicitation and was responsible for managing 4 massage parlors as fronts. And Leo Specs Gallo, male, 42, the organization's number 3. He was one of the 3 men delivered to our doorstep earlier tonight and handled the crew's logistics and finances. After finishing the summary, Holt looked directly at her superior. However, Captain Shaw, I have a question. Shaw's brow furrowed. Go on. She swept her gaze across the room. We received the anonymous tip and dispatched units immediately. But by the time we arrived on the scene, every member of the organization had been incapacitated with significant injuries. The woman, Ruby Kane, was found deceased from multiple stab wounds to her chest and back. I traced the tip, she added. It came from a burner phone, a ghost call. And then there's the matter of the 3 men in Specs, Baldy, and Slim, who were bound and dumped on our precinct's doorstep just before the call came in. Before she could continue, Captain Shaw held up a hand. So what you're saying, officer, is that someone intentionally fed us this case, after they had already gone in and done our job for us? Holt nodded. Yes, sir. That's exactly what I'm saying. We need to find out who. Captain Shaw rubbed his face, a deep weariness settling onto his rugged features. I'll assign a team to look into the vigilante angle. But right now, our top priority is identifying every single one of these victims and getting them back to their families. Is that clear? Sir, yes, sir. Holt snapped to attention. Shaw waved her down. All right, this meeting is adjourned. This case is a black mark on our city. I'm requesting a full-scale task force from downtown to sweep the entire south side. It's time to clean out these rats for good. Dismissed. Yes, sir. The room echoed with the unified response as the officers stood and saluted. After Daisy had eaten her fill, I started the drive to her home. I'd never met anyone from the Hudson Syndicate, but they were the undisputed kings of the South Side. Finding their headquarters wouldn't be difficult. In the car, I drove while Daisy sat quietly in the passenger seat, occasionally stealing glances at me. Why do you keep looking at me? I asked with a relaxed smile, glancing over at her. Caught in the act, her ears turned a bright pink. You're handsome, Cole, she said, her voice small and shy. I chuckled. The girl was disarmingly blunt, with a sort of naive charm. But as my eyes fell on her innocent, cherubic face and her still developing, shapely legs. Whoa, hold on. The thought hit me like a brick wall. She's just a kid. That's a criminal thought, totally depraved. I quickly shifted gears, pulling my phone from my pocket and handing it to her. Want to call your family? You've been gone for a few days. They must be worried sick. Daisy's face lit up. She took the phone eagerly, but just as she was about to dial, she hesitated, looking up at me sheepishly. What's wrong? I asked. Her small face flushed. I don't remember my mom's number. I blinked. Her own mother's number? What kid doesn't know their parents' phone number? Still, I smiled reassuringly. It's okay. No call needed. We'll just take you straight home. Daisy put the phone down, looking crestfallen. Her little hands rested in her lap as she pouted. Cole, do you think I'm dumb? How could I? I think you're adorable. Really? Of course. I never lie. Especially not to girls. A sweet giggle escaped her, and her little feet, clad in white knee-high socks, swung back and forth, a picture of pure, innocent happiness. The Hudson Syndicate's headquarters was an opulent, modern mansion that felt more like a private club than a criminal enterprise. In the main hall, a breathtakingly beautiful woman lounged on a chaise, her long legs crossed elegantly. A sleek, ink-black silk dress clung to her voluptuous figure, revealing a pair of legs that seemed impossibly long and flawless, pale, smooth, and perfectly shaped. They were a more mature, more sculpted version of her daughter Daisy's. With her stunning curves and enchanting air, she was like a black dahlia in full bloom, part goddess, part seductress. This was none other than the head of the Hudson Syndicate, Daisy's mother, Sienna Hudson. But at this moment, her perfect face was marred by a faint frown as she massaged her temples. Daisy had been missing for 4 days. She had sicked every man she had on the search, even offering a massive reward, but there had been no news. She couldn't bear to imagine the worst, but she knew she had made plenty of enemies in this city. If they couldn't get to her, they would go after her daughter. Boss! Boss! A young enforcer burst into the hall, his face flushed with excitement. Sienna's captivating eyes, a mix of danger and allure, snapped toward him. News about Daisy? She asked, her voice a low, husky purr. The enforcer nodded vigorously. She's back, boss. A man brought her back. Said he was the one who found her. He did? Sienna shot to her feet, a wave of astonished joy washing over her features. Where are they? Take me to them now. They're on their way. Should be here any second. As if on cue, 2 figures appeared in the grand entrance of the hall, Daisy and me. Mommy! Daisy spotted her mother and sprinted across the polished marble floor, throwing herself into her arms. Daisy, Sienna breathed, hugging her daughter tightly. For 4 days, sleep had been a stranger, her mind consumed with worry. Now, with Daisy safe in her arms, the crushing weight on her chest finally lifted. Once their emotional reunion settled, Sienna learned from her daughter what had happened, the kidnapping, my rescue. Sienna held Daisy's small hand and turned to me, her expression filled with genuine gratitude. Mr. Preston, thank you for saving my daughter. The Hudson Syndicate is in your debt. Whatever you need, if it's within our power, it's yours. Miss Hudson, you're too kind, I said, giving her a quick, appreciative once-over. I don't need anything at the moment. But if a time comes when I need your help, I won't hesitate to ask. I had to admit, the woman before me was a true femme fatale. Every curve of her lips held an indescribable allure. But I had also heard the rumors about her. They called her the Black Widow. Her late husband, the previous head of the syndicate, had died less than a month after their wedding. Whether the rumors of her involvement were true, I couldn't say. But for a woman to not only survive but thrive, taking control of a powerful criminal organization like this one, meant she was no one to be trifled with. A woman like her was a rose beautiful to look at, but covered in thorns. Tame her, and you've conquered the world. Fail, and you'll end up bleeding out. System Notification 1, Female Lead Sienna Hudson, age 32, head of the Hudson Syndicate. A cunning strategist with a dark past. She will become a key ally to the protagonist, King of Mercenaries Ethan Cross, providing him with crucial support in his rise to power. System Notification 2, Sienna Hudson was once a well-behaved, top student from a good family. After her family's business was targeted by the Hudson Syndicate, she was forced to marry the previous leader, Cyrus Hale. Less than a month into their marriage, she orchestrated his death and seized control of the syndicate, transforming it into the dominant power in the South Side. System Notification 3, King of Mercenaries Ethan Cross is scheduled to return to the country soon. He will coincidentally apply for a security guard position at Lunabella Cosmetics. Ding! Acquaintance with female lead Sienna Hudson established. Passerby points plus 200. The system's notifications made me pause, and I took another, longer look at Sienna. So, I had already met the third female lead. It seemed my rescue mission had paid off in more ways than one. But considering her backstory, this was not a woman who could be easily won over. Still, I've always enjoyed a challenge. The victory is always sweeter that way. Sienna insisted I stay, wanting to host a proper thank you dinner. But it was getting late, so I politely declined with a plausible excuse. My goal for tonight was to make an introduction and put her in my debt. As for getting a foothold in the city's underworld, that could wait. Rushing things with a woman as sharp as Sienna would only make her suspicious. Better to make a clean exit and let things develop naturally. After some back and forth, I took my leave. As I was heading out, Daisy looked up at me with her big, sad eyes, reluctant to see me go. She asked if I would come visit her again. I promised I would, and that I'd even bring her some pretty dresses next time. Then, I drove back to my villa. After a long, hot shower, I sat on my living room sofa, scrolling through the news on my phone. Since Vanguard Estates had terminated its partnership with Lunabella Cosmetics, Isabella Vance's company had been in a slump. But Isabella was a female lead, after all. A small problem like this wouldn't hold her down for long. Then there was the system's other reminder. Ethan Cross, the king of mercenaries, was about to arrive and would conveniently land a job as a security guard at Isabella's company. I had a feeling he would be the one to solve her business problems. For some reason, I found myself looking forward to meeting this Ethan Cross. Whether we would be friends or foes, only time would tell. Boss? Alex walked in, looking a bit disheveled. Behind him were two women who looked even more haggard. I gestured to the sofa beside me. Have a seat. Alex had been with the original Cole for over 3 years, he was a trusted man. As for the two women he had brought back, he had just come from the South Side. Considering their state, they were undoubtedly two of the victims from the tenement building. Their torn clothes, the visible bruises, and their exhausted expressions told a grim story. It was clear they had suffered greatly. Alex came over and sat, the two women following hesitantly. I didn't ask about them first. Instead, I asked, "Did you find the wallet?" "Got it." Alex nodded, pulling a black wallet from his pocket and placing it on the coffee table. It was the one Thea had with her the other day. "Good," I said, pocketing it. "Now you can tell me why you brought them here." At that, Alex suddenly dropped to one knee, his expression earnest. "Boss, I disobeyed a direct order tonight. I'm ready to accept my punishment." The two women behind him, seeing this, immediately knelt as well. I looked at him. Get up first, then explain. I knew Alex, despite his temper, wasn't reckless. And that den of criminals in the tenement building deserved to be wiped out. But I needed to know why he had acted on his own. Alex, however, remained stubbornly on his knee, as if he had committed a grave sin. He then recounted the events of the evening. I had ordered him and his team to find the wallet and then call the police. But Alex, enraged by the sight of the abused women and mutilated children, had led the team to storm the building and take down the entire operation themselves. Only after it was over did he call the police. He also confirmed my suspicions. This wasn't just some small-time gang. They were human traffickers, organ harvesters, monsters who abused women and children. The 2 women he had brought back were victims he had rescued. They hadn't gone with the police because they had no family to return to. With nowhere else to go, they would be back on the streets. Alex, in a moment of compassion, had brought them here. Boss, the decision was mine alone. The other men had nothing to do with it. Punish me. I thought for a moment, then looked at him. Half your salary this month is docked. And you're on cleaning duty in the garage for the next month. An order is an order. If I let this slide, no one would listen to me in the future. Yes, sir. Alex's face lit up with relief, and he nodded repeatedly. Can you get up now? Yes, sir. He grinned and immediately stood. I then turned my attention to the 2 women. What are your names? The older one on the left spoke up quickly. I'm Lily. This is my sister, Rose. All right, I said. You 2 can stay here and work as house staff. I'll have someone arrange rooms for you. Alex's face beamed. He turned to the 2 women. What are you waiting for? Thank the boss. The 2 sisters glanced at Alex, then quickly bowed their heads. Thank you, sir, they murmured. I shot Alex a look but said nothing more. He had brought them here knowing I would help. And as it happened, the villa could use a few more staff. They could stay on a trial basis. At the Hudson Mansion. Mommy, when can I get a boyfriend? Daisy asked, tucked snugly into her bed, her wide, innocent eyes looking up at Sienna. Sienna was taken aback. She had no idea why her daughter would suddenly ask such a question. She gently stroked Daisy's forehead, a soft smile playing on her lips. You're still little, sweetie. When you're all grown up, you can find a boyfriend. When I grow up, will I be as pretty as you? Sienna's smile widened. Of course. You'll be even more beautiful than me. Really? But, how do I grow up right now? Sienna was at a loss. What was wrong with her daughter tonight? Was it the trauma of the kidnapping? Before she could ponder it further, Daisy's voice piped up again. Mommy, when is Cole coming to visit me? Sienna froze. Cole. Now it all clicked. Her daughter had a crush. Of course, she didn't think much of it. Cole had saved her. It was natural for Daisy to be attached to him. He'll come visit in a few days, Sienna fibbed. Really? Daisy's eyes lit up, all sleepiness gone. Yes. And he said he's going to bring you a pretty princess dress. So, you need to get your rest now, sweetheart. The moment he arrives, I'll let you know. Okay, Mommy. I'll go to sleep right now. Hearing that Cole was coming soon, Daisy immediately shut her eyes, a happy smile on her face as she drifted off. Once Daisy was sound asleep, Sienna quietly left the room, letting out a soft sigh. She pulled out her phone and reviewed the file her men had compiled on me. Cole Preston, sole heir to the Preston Group, CEO of Vanguard Estates, representative of New York's Young Entrepreneurs Association. I hope he doesn't have an agenda, she murmured to herself. At L'Avenir, an upscale French restaurant in the heart of the city, the average price per person was well over $1,000. The dimly lit space was filled mostly with young, affluent couples. It's a pleasure to finally meet you in person, Ms. Vance, a pale-faced young man with shrewd, dark eyes said with a faint smirk, his gaze sweeping over Isabella. The man was Leo Dalton, CEO of Dust Cloud Technologies. Isabella forced a polite smile. The pleasure is all mine, Mr. Dalton. She wore a simple black blouse paired with white trousers, her long black hair cascading down her back, a delicate silver necklace glittering at her throat. It was a simple outfit, but on her, it was stunning. She got straight to the point. Mr. Dalton, shall we discuss the partnership? A corner of Leo's mouth twitched upward. Of course. Let's talk over dinner. After their food arrived, along with a bottle of Chateau Haut-Brion, Isabella laid her cards on the table. Mr. Dalton, I've looked into Dust Cloud's marketing strategies, and I'm very interested in a collaboration. However, my company's finances are a bit tight at the moment. I was hoping you could give me an idea of your rates. Leo smiled. Are you looking for a flat fee, Ms. Vance, or a profit-sharing model? Isabella hesitated. Profit sharing would be preferable, if possible. Her company had a valuation of $400 million, but that was just on paper. Her liquid assets were just over $60 million, and after recent R&D costs, employee benefits, and the new lease agreements with Vanguard Estates, she was stretched thin. Coming up with $5 million right now would be a challenge. Leo nodded. You know our reputation, Ms. Vance. Our prices reflect that. For a profit-sharing partnership, Dust Cloud would require a 40% cut. Isabella's brows knitted together. 40%? Seeing her hesitation, Leo pressed on. I heard you were working with Vanguard Estates. They're a real estate company. Even with an in-house marketing team, their reach can't compare to ours. Our price might be higher, but the market impact will be undeniable. Think of it as a long-term investment. We'll build the Lunabella brand into a household name nationwide. Isabella fell silent for a long moment. Finally, she looked at him. Let me think about it. Of course, Leo said smoothly, pouring them both a glass of red wine. In the meantime, a toast. To new acquaintances. Isabella couldn't refuse. She raised her glass and took a small sip. Outside Sterling Preparatory Academy. Cole, you're here. Thea's face lit up as she spotted me waiting, and she quickened her pace, a happy smile gracing her lips as she ran over. Ding! Encounter with female lead Thea Sutton. Passerby points plus 100. I smiled and held out the wallet. Thea's eyes widened in surprise. Cole, you actually found it? See for yourself, I said. Check if anything besides the cash is missing. Oh, right. She snapped out of her daze and quickly checked the contents. The cash was gone, but everything else was there, including the USB drive. She had been sick with worry over that drive for days. A wave of relief washed over her. She stood up straight, looking at me with a shy expression. Cole, thank you. A simple thank you won't cut it, Thea, I teased. You haven't forgotten our deal, have you? Thea froze for a second, then remembered. She had promised that if I found her wallet, she would grant me one request. So? Cole, what do you want me to do? Her face instantly turned a deep shade of crimson. Her toes curled inside her shoes, and her eyes darted away, unable to meet mine as her mind started to run wild with all sorts of improper thoughts. After spending some time together, Thea had to admit she was developing a bit of a crush on Cole. It was obvious he felt something for her, too. He was always stopping by the school to see her, finding excuses to chat, and most importantly, he was incredibly thoughtful and caring. No man treats a woman that well unless he's interested. So, was he about to ask her out? Tell her he wanted her to be his girlfriend? Or maybe, like in the movies, he would make some bold, slightly embarrassing request to close the distance between them. A kiss was definitely off the table, though. That would be moving way too fast. She'd be too mortified to ever face him again if he tried that. Oh my God, what am I thinking? Of course, I was completely oblivious to the whirlwind of thoughts racing through Thea's mind. If I had any idea that this prim and proper schoolteacher had such a wild imagination, I would have had to teach her a lesson or two about the real world. Seeing her flustered expression, I just assumed she was nervous about my request. Don't worry, Thea. It's just a small favor, I said, trying to put her at ease. A small favor? She repeated, her eyes widening. For some reason, hearing that made her even more tense. Her legs instinctively squeezed a little tighter, a faint sense of anticipation tingling through her. At that moment, I asked, July's almost here. You'll be on summer break soon, right? The abrupt change of topic threw her off. She nodded slowly. Yeah, school's out in a week. Why, Cole? A slight smile touched my lips. I heard Florida is nice this time of year. I was planning on taking a trip down there. Thea, would you like to come with me? Let's be real, no one goes to Florida for a nice, quiet vacation. I was thinking beaches, bikinis, yachts, sunbathing, the whole package. Thea finally processed what I was saying. Cole, is this the favor you were talking about? It is, I confirmed. So, what do you say, Thea? Want to come? She hesitated. She'd heard from friends how much fun Florida was, but as the dutiful daughter, she'd never had the chance to go. Honestly, she desperately wanted to go with me. But she couldn't make that decision on her own. She'd have to ask her parents. Thea tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear, a shy smile on her face. Cole, I'll have to ask my mom about it. Can I give you an answer tomorrow? Of course, I said warmly, not pressing the issue. I knew a little about her family's strict household rules. But since her mother, Eleanor, was the one who wanted us to get to know each other, a trip like this was unlikely to be a problem. I wasn't worried. Cole? Ms. Sutton? Just as we were talking, a bright, cheerful voice called out. Before we could turn, a young girl in a sterling prep uniform happily ran up and grabbed my hand. Daisy! I was startled. Thea looked just as surprised to see the newcomer. Before we could recover, the click-clack of high heels on pavement announced another arrival. Sienna Hudson approached, a graceful smile on her lips as she greeted us. Mr. Preston. Ms. Sutton. After a brief chat, I put the pieces together. Daisy, now 12, was a 7th grader at Sterling Prep, and Thea was her homeroom teacher. Sienna had just picked her up from school and spotted us talking on the street. Cole, my mom told me yesterday that you're coming over in a few days to take me shopping for a princess dress. Is that true? Daisy asked, still clutching my hand, her big eyes looking up at me expectantly. I froze for a second, glancing at Sienna. When did I say that? Sensing my confusion, Sienna gave an embarrassed smile, unsure how to explain. She'd only said that to get Daisy to go to sleep without pestering her about me. She never expected we'd run into each other at the school gate the very next day. Though I was still confused, an opportunity had just fallen into my lap. I wasn't about to let it go. That's right, Daisy. Your mom is telling the truth. In a couple of days, when I have some free time, I'll come find you. We'll go shopping, get some dessert, how does that sound? Really? Pinky promise. Hee, I believe you, Cole. Sienna stepped forward. Daisy, let's go home. Mr. Preston and Ms. Sutton have things to do. We shouldn't bother them. Okay then, Daisy pouted. All right, let's say goodbye to Mr. Preston and Ms. Sutton. Daisy waved at us. Bye, Cole. Bye, Ms. Sutton. Cole, you have to come play with me in 2 days. I will, I promised, ruffling her hair. Thea waved goodbye as well. As Sienna passed me, she paused and said gratefully, Mr. Preston, thank you again for before. Then she looked at Thea. Miss Sutton, thank you for taking care of Daisy at school. Thea smiled. I'm her teacher, it's my job. But Daisy is an excellent student, and she gets along well with her classmates. You really don't have to worry, Miss Hudson. Is that so? That's good to hear, Sienna said. Well, I'll be going. You two enjoy your chat. After they left, Thea looked at me, her curiosity piqued. Cole, you know Daisy's mother? We've crossed paths a few times, I said vaguely. Thea didn't know about Daisy's kidnapping, and I saw no reason to bring it up. Oh, okay. Come on, I said. It's getting late. I'll take you home. Okay. Crunch. At a busy intersection, the deafening sound of metal on metal ripped through the air. A Maybach S-Class had rear-ended a Rolls-Royce Phantom. In an instant, a crowd of onlookers had gathered, many pulling out their phones to capture the scene. "Man, what happened? Are you blind?" The Maybach plowed right into the back of the Rolls. "The Maybach is 100% at fault. Damn, a Maybach S and a Rolls-Royce Phantom. The Maybach's insurance company is going to have a heart attack. That's some serious damage. The repair bill is going to be insane. Ha, the insurance adjuster is probably crying right now." In the Rolls-Royce, I unbuckled my seatbelt and glanced in the rearview mirror at the Maybach. The light had just turned yellow, and I had chosen to slow down and stop for safety. I never expected the car behind me to slam right into us. I turned to Thea in the passenger seat. "Thea, I'm going to go check it out." "I'll come with you, Cole." "All right." In the Maybach behind us, Leo Dalton's face was a mask of controlled fury. "Fucking idiot, doesn't know how to drive," he muttered under his breath. But when he turned to Isabella, who was looking shaken in the passenger seat, his expression immediately softened. "Ms. Vance, are you all right?" Isabella pressed a hand to her stomach, fighting a wave of nausea. "I'm fine," she said, her voice a bit shaky. "I just need some fresh air. I feel a little sick." It was probably the jolt. "Getting out is a good idea." "I need to deal with this accident anyway," Leo said, nodding as they both got out of the car. I stepped out and surveyed the damage first. It was bad. The taillights were shattered, the bumper was crumpled, the trunk was dented, and the left rear suspension was clearly damaged. I could only imagine how fast the other car had been going. Thankfully, the Rolls-Royce was built like a tank, so Thea and I were fine. "Hey, buddy, you even know how to drive?" A hand tapped my arm, followed by an accusatory voice. The light was yellow. "You should have gone. Now look what you made me do." I frowned, annoyed, and turned to face the speaker. I was stunned. Leo Dalton. Isabella Vance. Leo and I had been high school classmates, but he had always been trouble. He used his family's influence to bully female students and even teachers. I had once caught him trying to make a move on a married teacher and put a stop to it. We'd been rivals ever since, and he tried to sabotage my business ventures more than once. "Cole Preston," Leo said, a surprised but smug smile spreading across his face. Well, what a coincidence." He then glanced at Isabella. "Ms. Vance, isn't this your devoted suitor? Looks like this will be easy to handle. If you can convince him to settle this privately, I'm willing to give you another 10% off our partnership fee. How about it?" He was at fault, so his insurance would have to cover the repairs for both cars. Settling privately meant avoiding the insurance companies and handling it personally. But Leo's offer was clearly a trap. He wanted Isabella to use her history with me to get me to settle for less, with her paying him back out of her own pocket. In return, he'd give her a better deal on their partnership. A Rolls-Royce repair would cost at least $300,000. A 10% cut of her company's profits could be worth $500,000 or more over time. Leo didn't care about the money, he just wanted to humiliate me. "Look, the woman you chased for 3 years is doing my bidding now." Isabella frowned, her gaze falling on Thea beside me, a woman whose beauty and elegance rivaled her own. She didn't know the full extent of my history with Leo, but she wasn't stupid. She knew he was using her. But she was more curious about the woman standing next to me. Was this the girl her sister had told her about from the coffee shop? "It's been a while," Isabella said, forcing a smile after a moment of internal struggle. She approached and then looked at Thea. "And you are?" "My girlfriend," I said, taking Thea's hand. The unexpected contact and the title made Thea's cheeks flush, but she played along, lacing her fingers with mine and giving me the shy look of a woman in love. She didn't know what was going on, but she knew she was on my team. The smile on Isabella's face froze for a split second before she masked it. "Oh, is that so? Congratulations. If you're here to help Leo settle this with me, just say it," I said coolly. "There's no need for us to play games." My voice was light, but it carried the same distant chill she had once used on me. Hearing the word "settle this" from my mouth, Isabella flinched. The word stung. She couldn't help but look me in the eye. In your eyes, am I really that kind of person? Someone who only cares about personal gain? What kind of person you are has nothing to do with me, I replied. A sharp pain lanced through Isabella's heart, and her eyes began to burn. My calm, indifferent words were like daggers. She wasn't angry that I had cut ties with her, she had agreed to that. What hurt was that this was how I saw her. After 3 years, did he really not know her at all? Yes, she didn't have romantic feelings for me. But she would never betray a friend for a small benefit. Cole, are we still friends? She asked again, her gaze locked on mine. No, I said flatly. Okay. I understand. Thank you. Isabella blinked rapidly, fighting back tears, and turned to leave. She had always thought of herself as a strong woman. But faced with my cold response, she was afraid she would break down and give me the satisfaction of seeing her cry. She never imagined she could look so pathetic in my eyes. Ms. Vance, wait. We haven't handled this yet. Don't go, Leo said, sensing something was wrong and trying to stop her. I'm sorry, Mr. Dalton. I'll take a cab home, she said, her voice trembling slightly. As for our partnership, let's just forget it. With that, she hurried away. Cole, she. Thea looked from Isabella's retreating back to me, hesitant to speak. She could tell the relationship between us was not simple. Otherwise, Isabella wouldn't have lost her composure like that. And when I had called Thea my girlfriend, she had seen the flicker of something in Isabella's eyes. I'll explain later. Go wait in the car. I'll handle this, I said, squeezing her hand gently. Okay. Thea nodded and went back to the car. I walked up to Leo, my voice icy. I don't have time to waste with you. Give me a solution. What's your hurry? Leo shot back impatiently. Even if we go through insurance, I still have to get an adjuster out here. He was already pissed about the accident, and his plan to use Isabella to humiliate me had backfired. My aggressive tone just added fuel to the fire. Don't test my patience, Leo, I said coldly. You and I both know how much dirt you have on you. All I have to do is start digging, and I'll find enough to put you away for a long time. Let's see who's faster, your family's lawyers, or my ability to make you disappear into the prison system. Leo's face paled. Cole, what are you talking about? Just a friendly reminder, I said. Stay out of my way, or I will deal with you. Of course, you can always try to deal with me first. Let's see if you have the guts. As for the accident, I want $1 million for the damages. Transferred to my company's account within 3 days. If you feel like testing me, you can try not paying. With that, I turned my back on him and got back in the car. Leo stood there, a cold sweat breaking out on his back. Damn it. He scared me. When had Cole Preston gotten so intimidating? In the car. You're back? Thea looked at me, surprised. The car is so badly damaged. Shouldn't you have waited for the insurance company? The guy who hit us was a high school classmate, I explained with a small smile. We already settled on compensation. Oh, that's good. Otherwise, we'd be stuck here in traffic forever, she said, not thinking much of it as she buckled her seatbelt. The woman who just left, her name is Isabella Vance, I began, my voice soft, my eyes distant as if looking into the past. She's from the Vance family, another one of the city's legacy families. I met her 3 years ago when her startup partnered with my company. Thea, you probably figured out that we weren't just simple friends. To be honest, I pursued her. For 3 years. But she never felt the same way, so we cut ties. We don't see each other anymore. The original Cole's reputation as a devoted suitor was well known in New York society. Thea probably didn't know because a good girl like her didn't pay attention to that kind of gossip. But if she wanted to, it wouldn't be hard to find out. There was no point in lying. Isabella's strange behavior today had surprised me, but it also reminded me of just how much the original Cole had done for her. As for her hurt expression, please. She had nothing to be hurt about. The original Cole was the real victim, a stalker for 3 years with nothing to show for it. In the passenger seat, Thea saw the troubled look on my face. She balled her small hands into fists and looked at me with gentle eyes. Cole, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked. She could see I was putting on a brave face, but deep down, I must have been hurting. To chase a woman for 3 years meant she held a special place in my heart. And now, they were strangers. To love and not be loved in return is one of life's bitterest pills. And she had just made me relive that painful past. Seeing her sincere apology, I smiled reassuringly. What are you apologizing for? It has nothing to do with you. But I couldn't help but think, she's such a sweet girl. The kind who gets taken advantage of too easily. After I dropped Thea off at her family's home, I drove away. Ding! Female lead Thea Sutton's favorability towards host +2. Passerby points +200. The system's voice made me pause. I hadn't expected that a moment of honesty would once again increase her favorability. And the passerby points. I had gotten a few hundred from meeting Sienna, some from returning the wallet to Thea, and a good chunk from the accident with Isabella. In just 2 days, I had earned about 1,600 points. Let's do another 10 pull. Host's request received. Initiating lottery. The golden wheel appeared before my eyes, spinning with a brilliant light. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received Spring of Youth Mineral Water X1. Maced. What the hell is this? Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received Physique Enhancement. That's more like it. I wasn't looking for a fight, but having some strength couldn't hurt. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received Master Level Piano Skills. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received Suave Shampoo X1. As the system's voice faded, a strange energy flowed into my body, leaving me feeling revitalized, more alive. Then, the knowledge of a master pianist flooded my mind, repeating and integrating until it was a part of me. When I opened my eyes again, I could feel that I was stronger, and the skills of a concert pianist were now at my fingertips. In a women's dorm at New York University. Ring, ring. Chloe, your phone's ringing. A roommate called out to Chloe Vance, who was in the bathroom. Okay, I'm coming. A moment later, Chloe rushed out, a towel wrapped around her wet hair. Seeing it was her sister calling, she quickly answered. Hey, sis. What's up? It's late. A strange woman's voice answered. Hello, I'm a bartender at the Rose. The owner of this phone is here, and she's had a bit too much to drink. Are you able to come pick her up and settle her tab? Drunk? Chloe was stunned. Her sister was a lightweight. Even for work events, she would have someone else drink for her. Why would she suddenly go to a bar and get this drunk? But now wasn't the time for questions. Hello? Yes, can you give me the address? I'm on my way. We're at 10, North Street, Suite 42. Okay, thank you. After hanging up, Chloe immediately started getting dressed. Chloe, where are you going so late? A roommate asked. It's almost 10:30. The doors are about to lock. I have to take care of something. I probably won't be back tonight. If they take attendance, cover for me, okay? I gotta go. Without another word, she was out the door. Her sister wouldn't go to a bar and get drunk for no reason. Something must have happened. And a bar was a dangerous place for a woman alone, especially one who was drunk and vulnerable. She hailed a cab outside the campus gates and headed for North Street. An hour later, she arrived. The street was a chaotic mix of flashing neon signs, thumping electronic music, and drunken young people stumbling on the sidewalks. Chloe frowned and pushed her way into the Rose. Sis. She spotted Isabella slumped over the bar and rushed to her side, gently shaking her. Sis, wake up. Why are you here alone? Isabella stirred, her eyes bleary as she looked at Chloe. Chloe? How did you get here? Are you her friend? A heavily made-up bartender asked. Her tab is $2,388. Chloe paid without a word. Sis, wake up. I'm taking you home. She draped Isabella's arm over her shoulder and helped her up. Sis, what happened? Why did you come to a bar by yourself? She asked as she struggled to guide her sister out. Wretch! Just as they got outside, Isabella doubled over and threw up everything she had drunk. When she straightened up, she looked a little more sober, but she was still unsteady on her feet, her face flushed. Chloe, you know who I saw today? She slurred, her emotions spilling out. I saw Cole. And his new little girlfriend. He used to say he only liked me, but the second we fight, he finds a new one. And she's so pretty. He was so afraid his girlfriend would get the wrong idea that he pretended he didn't even know me. He said we weren't even friends. 3 years, Chloe. We knew each other for 3 years, and now we're strangers. Isn't that hilarious? He's a jerk, a bastard, a player, a scumbag. She was laughing, but it was a broken, painful sound. Sis, Chloe said softly, trying to calm her down. She never expected her sister would get this drunk over Cole. But from her rambling, she could guess what had happened. Her sister had been deeply hurt. The proud, stoic Isabella would never get drunk in a bar alone unless she was at her breaking point. She was letting it all out, all the frustration, all the pain. Well, look what we have here. A couple of pretty ladies, all drunk and alone. A sleazy voice cut through the night. Before Chloe could react, a dozen men with brightly colored hair had surrounded them, their leering eyes raking over the two sisters. Ladies, you not feeling so good? The leader, a man with bleached white hair, asked with a greasy smile. Want us to take you to a hospital? His crew moved in closer, their eyes hungry. Damn, boss, these two are fine as hell. Probably students from the university nearby. Students are the best. No powerful family to worry about. Hee, first time I've seen girls this hot on North Street. I'm calling dibs on one of them. Chloe's heart pounded in her chest. She instinctively stepped in front of her sister, her voice trembling as she faced the men. I don't know you. Please, leave us alone, or I'll call the police. The white-haired man laughed. Sweetheart, don't you know? North Street is a no-cop zone. Chloe took a step back. What do you mean, a no-cop zone? He grinned wickedly. Sex, drugs, gambling. We got it all here. The cops don't touch North Street. So even if you call, no one's coming. You understand now? Chloe's blood ran cold. The man's meaning was clear. The criminal element here was so powerful that even the police stayed away. They were on their own. She knew if she didn't get her sister out of there, fast, something terrible would happen. Who are you? Why are you surrounding my sister? The commotion had roused Isabella. Seeing the men circling them, the alcohol in her system seemed to burn away, replaced by a surge of adrenaline. She immediately stood up, shielding Chloe. The white-haired man looked at the more imposing of the two women, a smirk on his face. We don't want much. Just for you two to have a few drinks with us, play a few games. Get lost. We're leaving, Isabella said, her voice like ice. These men were obviously trouble. The white-haired man's smile turned cold. Are you disrespecting us? Are you going to move, or do I have to call the cops? Go ahead, he sneered. Try it. While Isabella was arguing with him, Chloe had already pulled out her phone and dialed my number. At the same time, I was driving when my phone rang. Chloe? What's up? I had no love for Isabella, but Chloe was different. She wasn't arrogant or pretentious. She had always been respectful, calling me Cole. We had a good relationship. Cole. It's me and my sister. We're in trouble. Can you help us? What's wrong? I asked. I could hear arguing in the background. A bunch of thugs are harassing us. They won't let us leave. They want us to drink with them, and they said calling the cops is useless. My brow furrowed. Where are you? Do you know who they are? North Street. The leader has white hair. Before she could finish, I heard a sharp smack, and the line went dead. North Street, I muttered. It sounded like they were in real trouble. If it were just Isabella, I wouldn't have gone. But Chloe was there. She had called me brother for 3 years, and in her moment of crisis, I was the first person she called. But the information she gave me was minimal. North Street was huge, finding them would be impossible. Wait. An idea struck me. I quickly picked up my phone. A few seconds later, a sweet, cheerful voice came through the line. Hi, Cole. Do you miss me? It's the weekend tomorrow. Do you want to come over and play? Ahem, I cleared my throat. Daisy, is your mother there? I had let Daisy save my number last time. Now, it was coming in handy. Nope. Mom's still working. Can you give the phone to her? I have something I need to ask her. Oh, okay. Wait a minute, I'll go get her. I heard the pitter-patter of feet on stairs. Mom, Cole is on the phone for you. Says he has something to ask you. Give me the phone. A moment later, a pleasant, husky voice came on the line. Mr. Preston. What can I do for you? Miss Hudson, I need to ask you about something happening on North Street. If it's convenient, I might need you to come with me. Chloe had mentioned thugs, which meant they were likely involved in the underworld. Sienna was the queen of the South Side, she would know more than I did. Her help would save me a lot of trouble. Perhaps because I had saved her daughter, Sienna didn't refuse. After I explained the situation, she agreed to meet me on North Street. Mr. Preston. Not long after, Sienna pulled up in a white BMW i5. She wore a slim, wine-red coat and tall black boots that made her look even taller and more elegant. Her presence was commanding. I walked up to her. You're here. Sienna smiled. Have you been waiting long, Mr. Preston? Just got here. So, what did you find out? Seeing my anxious expression, Sienna teased, it seems you care a lot about this friend of yours. I'm worried those thugs will hurt her, I explained. Sienna's captivating eyes narrowed slightly, then flickered to my damaged Rolls-Royce parked on the side of the road. Get in my car first. I'll tell you the details on the way. In the car, Sienna took off her coat, crossing her long legs as if she owned the place. Her posture created a perfect S-curve. It was hard not to stare. It's no wonder Daisy was so cute, she clearly had good genes. But now was not the time to be distracted. Time was of the essence. A delay could be disastrous. Miss Hudson, you can tell me now, right? Sienna nodded. North Street, she explained, was a different beast from the South Side. The clubs, the gangs, the organizations were bigger, more ruthless. The black markets, the illegal trades, it was on another level. Even the police, though aware of the illicit activities, were reluctant to intervene. It was too dangerous. Cops who wandered into the wrong territory on a routine check could end up beaten, or worse, dead. It was a lawless land, ruled by blood, violence, and cunning. But don't worry too much, she continued. The white-haired man you mentioned, I had my people look into him. He's a low-level boss from a gang called the Red Scorpions. His name is Gene Long. The Red Scorpions aren't a major player on North Street. If I go talk to them, they should give me face. All right. I'm counting on you, I said, not refusing her help. I was a legitimate businessman. Even if I went there myself and announced who I was, they probably wouldn't care. In this city, the legitimate business world and the criminal underworld kept their distance, and there was no love lost between them. At the reunion KTV. In the VIP room. Isabella and Chloe were disheveled. Isabella had a fresh, red handprint on her cheek. The white-haired man, Gene Long, sat on the sofa, one leg propped up on the table, a cigarette dangling from his lips as he smirked at the two women huddled on the floor. I don't want to get rough with you. It would be a shame to damage such pretty faces. Just be good girls, sit down, have a drink with me, and we can talk about anything you want. Yeah, just do what he says. If you make the boss happy, maybe he'll let you go. Ha, ladies, you're not getting out of here. Why not just give it a try? The boss is a man of his word. Fine, Isabella said coldly, getting to her feet. I'll drink with you. But you're not to touch my sister. Chloe immediately grabbed her sister's hand. Sis, no. You can't. They're just toying with us. Don't worry, Isabella whispered, patting her sister's hand and pulling away. I'll figure something out. She knew as well as her sister that these men wouldn't just let them go. But if she didn't cooperate, they would just resort to violence. Haha, see? That wasn't so hard, Jean Long said with a grin, reaching out to touch her face. Let me see if you got hurt. Don't touch me, Isabella snapped, slapping his hand away. Keep your filthy hands to yourself. You fucking bitch. You want to die? I could fuck you right here, right now. If the boss didn't want to have some fun, I'd have made you cry already. You don't know whose turf you're on, do you? You got a death wish? Seeing Isabella's defiance, the lackeys behind him erupted, dropping all pretense. All of you, shut the fuck up. Jean Long roared, his patience wearing thin. He had finally found two beautiful women, he wasn't going to let his idiot underlings ruin it. They had no finesse. At his command, the lackeys quieted down, but their glares at Isabella were even more venomous. Come, sit, Jean Long said with a chuckle, raising his glass. Let's have a drink. He downed it in one gulp. Your turn. Isabella's jaw tightened, but she reluctantly picked up her glass and, forcing down the bile rising in her throat, drank it all. Haha, not bad. You've got some fire in you, Jean Long laughed, a flicker of excitement in his eyes. Boss, my turn, my turn. A bald man behind him stepped forward, mimicking Jean Long and downing a glass. He then grinned sleazily at Isabella. Your turn, beautiful. Isabella said nothing, just picked up another glass and drank. The men behind them started clapping and cheering, their excitement growing. Damn, boss, this one can drink. She's wild. I like it. Haha, my turn then. At the Red Scorpion's headquarters. Miss Hudson, are you sure it was my men who took your friend? A middle-aged man asked nonchalantly. A prominent scar, 4 or 5 centimeters long, ran down his left cheek. Mr. Luo, if I'm here, you can be sure I have proof, Sienna said, uncrossing her legs, her voice cool and even. I expect you to return them to me now. The man, Luo, fell silent, contemplating. The Hudson Syndicate was the top power in the South Side. His Red Scorpions were a minor gang on North Street. If he made an enemy of her, she wouldn't even have to lift a finger. She could just offer a small incentive to one of his rivals, and he would be wiped out. After a moment, he looked up. Let me make a call. He pulled out his phone and dialed. 10 seconds. 20 seconds. The number you have dialed has been switched off. Please try again later. That son of a bitch. Luo slammed his phone down, furious. What was that idiot Jean Long thinking, turning off his phone at a time like this? He had no idea the trouble he had caused. Go find that idiot Jean Long for me, now. He barked at his men. Back at the KTV, Isabella was clearly reaching her limit. She was bent over, clutching her chest, gagging with every drink. The alcohol was hitting her hard, the room spinning violently. The men, however, only laughed harder at her state. Ha, she's a trooper. Yeah, haven't had this much fun in a long time. Come on, keep drinking. We're not stopping till we drop. They poured her another large glass, ignoring her obvious distress. Isabella bit her lip, shook her woozy head, and reached for the glass again. Sis, you can't drink anymore, Chloe said, grabbing her sister's hand, her face etched with worry. Isabella's hand trembled. Chloe, don't. I can't let them hurt you. No. Chloe refused, turning to face Jean Long. Stop forcing my sister. If you want someone to drink, I'll drink with you. Jean Long's brow arched. He studied Chloe for a moment, then a slow, wicked grin spread across his face. All right. But we're changing the rules. We're playing a new game. What kind of game? Chloe challenged. He chuckled. Rock, paper, scissors. Everyone plays, except your sister. Loser takes 3 shots and removes 1 item of clothing. You're disgusting. Chloe spat. It was just an excuse to make her strip. That's right, I am, Jean Long said, unfazed, his amusement growing. So, are you playing? No, we're not playing that game, Isabella said, quickly stepping in front of Chloe. This was her fault. She couldn't let her sister suffer for her mistake. But I want to play this game now, Jean Long said, his smile widening as he savored their fear and desperation. He was the king here, and they were his playthings. You bitches, you heard the boss. Get over here and play. We'll tell you now, you're not leaving tonight. If you don't want to get hurt, you'll do as you're told. That's right. I've never seen 2 girls as fine as you. It would be a damn shame to let you go. Fuck it, boss. If they won't play nice, I'll just take them. I can't wait anymore. Seeing the 2 sisters still refusing, the men started shouting obscenities, their language growing fouler. A few even started to lunge forward. Crash! The sound of shattering glass silenced the room. Isabella held a broken bottle, the jagged edge pressed against her own neck. All of you, stop! She screamed. You want one of us? Let my sister go, and I'll stay. If not, I'll die right here, and you can explain that to whoever comes looking. A flicker of annoyance crossed Jean Long's face. He backhanded the man who had been shouting the loudest. You useless piece of shit! Did I tell you to touch them? That's no fun at all. Boss, I. The man cowered, immediately falling silent. The others followed suit. When the room was quiet again, Jean Long adjusted his collar and looked at Isabella. Put the bottle down. We can talk about this. Let her go, Isabella said coldly. Let my sister leave. Fine, Jean Long shrugged, waving his hand for his men to clear a path to the door. Isabella looked at Chloe. Chloe, you go first. Be careful on your way out. They won't let you go easily. Sis, I can't leave you, Chloe cried. What will happen to you if I go? Listen to me. You're the only one who can get help. If you stay, we're both done for. Under Isabella's desperate urging, Chloe finally, reluctantly, agreed. Staying was a death sentence. Only by getting out could she find a way to save her sister. Her only fear was whether her sister could hold out until then. Go! Don't worry about me. I'll be fine, Isabella said, trying to sound reassuring. Chloe wiped the tears from her eyes. Sis, wait for me. With that, she turned and ran for the door. Don't any of you follow her? Isabella shouted, pressing the glass harder against her throat. Okay, Jean Long said with a smile, giving a subtle glance to a wiry man standing beside him. As Chloe pushed open the door and ran out, all eyes were on her. But in that moment, as Isabella's attention was focused on her sister's escape, a shadowy figure slipped behind her. You stupid bitch!